students. This is the course entitled as Systemic Veterinary Histology and Embryology, and it carries 3 credit hours, 2 for theory and 1 for practical. So during this course, we have allocated these 40 marks to the theory part, in which you will give mid examination for 12 marks, and final examination will be of 24 marks. During the semester, the assignments or quizzes will be given, and they will having 4 marks. So in this way you have to take these passing marks, which are 16 for the theory part, and keep in mind the attendance will be 75%, and those students who have the attendance up to 75%, they will be allowed to sit in the final examination. For the practical portion, required attendance will be 75%, same as that of the theory part, and the total marks allocated to this part will be, or this portion will be 20. And among these 3 rotations, we have divided 15 marks for the rotation, which will be taken during your semester, and our worksheets will be given to you, like this performance will be checked, and certain viva questions will be asked to you, and maybe copy will be included. So if these things they are included, they will having 5 marks again. So these passing marks will be 8 for the practical portion of this course. Learning outcomes of the course will be, after attending this course, you will be able to describe the developmental stages of the embryo and embryonic origin of each organ. You will be able to describe and identify the microscopic features of different systems of the body and their comparative histological features in domestic animals. I mean, you have studied previously different tissues, and in this part, you will be concentrating on the different systems of the body, which are actually made up of different organs, and in turns, different systems of the body, they will make or constitute an organism. So you will see the histological features of every organ, and then you will able to compare. This is a comparative histological feature, so you will be able to compare the microarchitectural features in different domestic species for the different systems of the body. And then course contents or the topics will be covered as embryology. First, we will focus on the embryology part, and keep in mind that this will be general embryology course. Study of different developmental stages of embryo will be discussed. The different weeks of development of the embryo, starting from the fertilization up to the first week of ending of the first week of development of the embryo. Then we will discuss the second and third week of embryo development, then up to fourth week of development of the embryo, and placenta types, which is named as placentation in domestic animals, their microarchitectural features, as well as their anatomical, gross anatomical features will be discussed, and embryonic origin of each body organ will be discussed accordingly. When we will see the study, we will study the different organs. Then we will go to the integumentary system, which is also called as skin and its appendages. Integument is the word which is used for the skin or covering. It is a Latin word, integument. So we will see the histological variations of thick and thin skin, as well as epidermal appendages, which are also called as adnexa. And these appendages include nails, hooves, claws, as well as sebaceous glands, sweat glands, and mammary glands, etc. Then we will go in details the histological features of cardiovascular system. It's very obvious that cardia word is for heart and vascular is for the vasculature. So we will see the histology of heart and all major blood vessels, as well as microvasculature, which you can see only and only under the under the microscope. We will see the ultra microscopic features of different capillaries, as well as arterioles or venules. And then we will go to the lymphatic system histology, in which you will see introduction of the lymphoid tissue, the general organization of lymphoid tissue in our body or in animals body. You will see that either nodular or diffuse type of lymphoid tissue is present, and where mostly it is located. This is actually immune system of the body, and we will see the primary immune system organs or histology of the secondary lymphatic organs, and then spleen and tonsils, etc. In digestive system histology, we will see the all parts of digestive system, starting from the oral cavity up to the large intestinal segments. So, particularly the structures which are present in the oral cavity, starting from the lips, cheeks, and then tongue, different papillae on the tongue surface, we will discuss one by one, and then there will be other parts starting from the esophagus to the stomach and different regions of the stomach, and particularly simple and differences of the simple and compound stomach animals will be seen, that how they look like under light microscope. And along with the cystic glands of the digestive system, we will study the histological features of liver, pancreas, as well as the salivary glands, major salivary glands in the body. And all these, they are called as accessory glands of the digestive system. Next, we will focus on the respiratory system histology, particularly microarchitecture of the extrapulmonary and intrapulmonary tissues of the respiratory system will be discussed. Later on, urinary system histology will be discussed, in which kidneys and excretory passages of the urinary system histology will be discussed. In male reproductive system, we will see the process of spermatogenesis, where it is going to occur and what are the different stages of spermatogenesis, and histology of testes, particularly the seminiferous tubules histology will be discussed, and its associated ducts like ductus epididymis, ductus deferens, and copulatory organs histology will be seen, and as well as we will focus on the male accessory gland histology, including vesicular gland, which are also called as seminal vesicles, as well as prostate gland and bulbourethral gland, and how species variation occur in these glands will be also discussed in this topic. Then we will focus on the female reproductive system histology. The process of oogenesis will be briefly discussed. Histology of the ovary, fallopian tubes, which are also called as uterine tubes, uterus, cervix, and vagina will be discussed. Some part of this histology will be discussed in your embryology class also, because it is very necessary to know the epithelial tissue as well as certain other components of the these female reproductive system, to understand the embryological variations or developmental anatomy of the any animal. Then we will focus lastly on the endocrine system histology of the pituitary gland will be discussed, which is also called as master gland in our body. Pineal gland histology will be discussed. Thyroid and parathyroid gland histology, as well as adrenal gland histology will be discussed. So in this way, we will cover all this course of the systemic veterinary histology and embryology. And books which are recommended for this purpose, you know very well from your previous part of this course, that was general histology, that Delman's textbook of veterinary histology of 6th edition is your recommended book, and other recommended books are the Samuelson textbook of veterinary histology, and then Bacha's color atlas of veterinary histology. Then there are certain illustrated veterinary histology manuals, and here it is written as McGarty. McGarty की जो book है वो veterinary embryology की यहाँ पे recommended है, लेकिन हम आपको जो लैंगमैन्स की बुक है उससे पढ़ाएंगे। लैंगमैन्स मेडिकल एम्ब्रोलॉजी की बुक जो है वो यहाँ पे रिकमेंडेड है। एंड देन वी विल गो टू द टू सी माइक्रोस्कोपिक एनाटॉमी। ये जो क्यूनेल की बुक है उसको भी आप कर सकते हैं, कंसल्ट कर सकते हैं। एंड देन वी विल गो टू, एंड ऑल ऑफ यू हैव आई थिंक this De Fore's Atlas of Histology with Functional Correlations, and latest edition of this particular book or atlas is available, and I think all of you have this atlas of histology with you with functional correlations, and it will be very much helpful to understand the physiological aspects, as well as not only the histological aspects but as well as these functional aspects of the structure will be discussed in this book. Now we come to the general pattern of general structure of the tubular organs. General structural pattern exists for all tubular organs of the digestive, respiratory, urinary and reproductive tract. जितने भी जो ट्यूबुलर ऑर्गन्स हैं जिनके अंदर ल्यूमन होता है, उन वो डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम के ऑर्गन्स हो या रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम के, यूरिनरी सिस्टम के या रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम के, वो जो दरमियान में से हॉलो होते हैं, ट्यूबुलर ऑर्गन्स होते हैं, उनका एक ही जनरल पैटर्न होता है, थोड़ी बहुत वेरिएशन के साथ। तो द इनर मोस्ट लेयर जो है, सॉरी, द वॉल ऑफ अ टिपिकल ट्यूबुलर ऑर्गन जो है, इट इज कंपोज्ड ऑफ 4 कोट्स। कोट्स का मतलब है लेयर्स। ईच कोट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज आइदर ट्यूनिक or tila. A tila has a delicate web-like structure while tunic is comprised of denser tissue. This is the difference between tila and tunic, that a tila has a delicate web-like structure while a tunic is composed of denser tissue. So, uh, so the first coat or tunic is a tunica mucosa, and tunica mucosa is composed of further sub 3 layers or laminae, which are called as epithelium. The first layer touching the food particles. In case of this digestive system, they are that is tunica mucosa or mucous membrane, and each layer is having its own specific function. First of all, the just after the lumen will be epithelium, then there will be lamina propria, and lamina muscularis will be the last layer of the tunica mucosa. Mucosal epithelium is constantly present and may consist of any of the type of surface epithelia depending upon the function of the specific organ. Like it can be simple squamous epithelium, it could be simple cuboidal, or it could be simple columnar or stratified squamous or stratified cuboidal, or it can be transitional epithelium depending upon the organ function. The epithelium rests on the basement membrane. Always you know previously that all epithelia they rest on the basement membrane, and underneath this epithelium will be lamina propria, layer of connective tissue which is immediately beneath the epithelium, and in most organs this is a loose type of connective tissue. All the blood vessels, mostly blood vessels, they will pierce through this layer, and with lymphatic capillaries and nerves, they are also present in the lamina propria. In some organs, lamina propria contains glands. So glands which are present in the lamina propria, they will be referred to as mucosal glands because they are confined to the tunica mucosa. And then is the lamina muscularis, which is inconstantly present and consists of 1 to 3 layers of smooth muscles. Lamina muscularis allows independent movement of the mucosa, possibly to facilitate the movement of the luminal contents or to assist in the expression of secretions from the mucosal glands. We come to schematic diagram. Here you can see this is the lumen, and there are 4 different regions of the parts of the gastrointestinal tract. They are given over here. A is for the esophagus, B is also for the esophagus, and C part is for the small intestine, and D is representing large intestine. So here you can see after the lumen, first layer will be tunica mucosa, and E, F, G. Here these three parts, they are representing tunica mucosa. And I have told you previously that each layer like coats tunica mucosa, submucosa, and tunica muscularis and tunica serosa will having its own different functions. So mucosal layer इसका जो important function क्या है कि it will provide mucus that is containing mucin, protein and casts of epithelial cells. यहाँ पे जो है इसके ऊपर जो सिक्रीशन होगी वो म्यूकस की सिक्रीशन होगी। म्यूकस कोट जो है जैसे इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर जो है वो प्रिवेंटिव या प्रोटेक्टिव मटेरियल जो है वो यहाँ पे होता है, इसी तरह से स्टोमक के अंदर भी। और इसके अंदर जो है म्यूकोजल लेयर जो है ये प्रोवाइड करेगी जो म्यूकस, उसके अंदर कास्ट ऑफ एपिथेलियल सेल्स भी होंगे, ल्यूकोसाइट्स भी होंगे और म्यूसिन प्रोटीन इटसेल्फ इसका पार्ट होगी। और स्टोमक के अंदर यहाँ पे जो है वो सॉरी स्टोमक के अंदर यहाँ पे HCl भी प्रोड्यूस होगा। तो अल्टीमेटली दिस लेयर इज कंप्राइजिंग ऑफ दिस E is representing epithelium, F is for the lamina propria and G is for the lamina muscularis. So we come to the next layer that is called as submucosa. Here H is for the submucosal region. Again I will go to the प्रीवियस स्लाइड अगर हम देखें तो उसमें जो ट्यूनिका सबम्यूकोसा है इट इज हैविंग connective tissue covering, connective tissue layer, and usually the glands which are present in the submucosa region they will be named as submucosal gland. अगर यहाँ पे ये जो glands मौजूद हैं तो इसको हम कहेंगे कि this region is submucosa is having submucosal gland. Here you can see in A part this A part of the esophagus part is having no esophageal or submucosal glands, while in B portion you can see in the submucosal glands are present. So these are submucosal glands. That this region is actually having submucosal glands. And when we come to the tunica mucosa, which is the innermost layer, it is mostly important for the absorption of food particles और इंजेस्टा जो है। और सेल्स दे विल सेक्रीट, इसके जो सेल्स होंगे यूजुअली दे विल सेक्रीट म्यूकस एंड अदर सब्सटेंसेस लाइक एंजाइम्स एटसेट्रा, एंड यूजुअली इट कंटेन्स फोल्ड्स। अगर आप देखें ये ल्यूमन फोल्डेड है, इसमें भी यहाँ पे ल्यूमन फोल्डेड है। तो ये जो फोल्ड्स हैं दे विल इंक्रीज द सरफेस एरिया टू एब्जॉर्ब फॉर एनहांसमेंट इन द एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ फूड। तो उसके बाद जो आती है यानी कि यहाँ से लेके E, F और G तक जो है यहाँ तक ट्यूनिका मिकोजा है, एंड आफ्टर दैट देयर विल बी ट्यूनिका सबमिकोजा। इफ द ग्लैंड्स दे आर present over here they will be named as submucosal glands, and this region is having connective tissue, and this connective tissue is usually more denser as compared to the connective tissue of lamina propria. And lots of blood vessels, nerves and lymphatic vessels, they are there, and they will help to control the absorption. And usually this layer is having lots of blood vessels, and what these blood vessels they do, it nourishes the surrounding tissues. For example, next to this layer will be tunica muscularis. So it will nourish, it will bring the healthy oxygenated blood to the muscles, and it will help to contract and relax these muscular layers easily. So in this layer there will be submucosal region. ये जो submucosal region है यहाँ पे कुछ nerve plexus भी मौजूद हो सकते हैं जिसको हम कहते हैं submucosal nerve plexus या Meissner's nerve plexus. So ultimately the nerve plexus which are located or the part of the autonomic nervous system will be located over here, and this region will be named these nerve plexus will be named as submucosal nerve plexus or Meissner's nerve plexus. Now we come to the next layer which is tunica muscularis, and in this layer you can see arrangement I and J, they are representing two muscle layers, inner circular and outer longitudinal layer of muscles. So this muscular layer will be helpful in the passing of ingesta from the lumen through the lumen from first region to the other region. अगर हम इसको देखें तो ये जो मसल्स की लेयर है, ये टू लेयर्स है मसल्स की, दैट कंट्रैक्ट इन ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन एंड दे विल मूव द फूड थ्रू पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट. यहाँ पे पेरिस्टाल्टिक मूवमेंट की वजह से जो मूव करेगा फूड एक रीजन से दूसरी तरफ. और स्टमक में जो है ये 3 लेयर्स हो जाएंगी. तो यूजुअली अगर आप ये देखें कि ये 3 लेयर्स, यहाँ पे तो 2 लेयर्स दिखाई गई क्योंकि इंटेस्टाइन का पार्ट है, ये भी इंटेस्टाइन का पार्ट है, ये लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन है एंड दिस इज एसोफेगस. एसोफेगस में इनिशियली जो है वो स्केलेटल मसल फाइबर्स भी होंगे इस लेयर में. तो अल्टीमेटली यहाँ पे जो मसल्स की कंट्रैक्शन और रिलैक्सेशन है वो इंजेस्टा को एक जगह से दूसरी जगह मूव करेगी. एंड देन देयर विल बी ट्यूनिका सीरोसा और सीरस लेयर will be present, which is called as outermost layer, and it is a protective layer as well. Or cells, they will secrete a serous fluid to lubricate the organs from sticking to each other. तो ये भी एक वही स्कीमेटिक डायग्राम की तरह ये कलर डायग्राम है. यहाँ दरमियान में आप देखें ल्यूमन है, different parts of the gastrointestinal tract they are shown over here. This is esophagus, the stomach, and type of epithelium will be variable according to the type of the organ and the functional requirement of the organ. Small intestine, large intestine is there. You can see the inner layer. After the lumen is tunica mucosa, then there will be submucosa. So connective tissue of submucosa is over here, and then there is tunica muscularis, inner circular and outer longitudinal layer of smooth muscles, tunica serosa. If the organs, they are usually located in the cavities, they are wrapped by tunica serosa, which is connective tissue having mesothelial lining. यहाँ पे जैसे मेसेंट्री की लाइनिंग है तो ये सिंपल स्केमस एपिथेलियम इस कनेक्टिव टिश्यू के बाहर कवरिंग होगी. और जहाँ पे जो है वो मेसोथेलियल लाइनिंग नहीं होगी उसको हम ट्यूनिका एडवेंटिशिया कहेंगे. So here you can see the ducts of the glands, they are present. salivary glands की जो ducts हैं वो directly lumen के अंदर अपनी secretion को pour करेंगे. और some of the lymphatic nodules, they are present in the submucosal region, and you can see the glands in submucosa. So they will be named as submucosal gland. Here you can see the plexus of Meissner's nerve plexus, which are also named as submucosal nerve plexus. And between the two muscle layers there will be myenteric nerve plexus और plexus of Orbach, जिसको हम Orbach nerve plexus भी कहते हैं, myenteric nerve plexus भी कहते हैं. तो ये usually जो दो मसल्स की लेयर्स होती हैं उनके दरमियान में जो नर्व प्लेक्सिस होता है उसको हम myenteric nerve plexus या Orbach nerve plexus के नाम से जानते हैं. तो ये एक क्रॉस सेक्शनल व्यू है एसोफेगस का, जिसके अंदर ये इन द मिडल पार्ट वेयर दिस पॉइंटर इज मूविंग, this region is actually lumen, and just after the lumen you can see this epithelial layer, and this is stratified squamous epithelium, and underneath this epithelium is lamina propria, the connective tissue of lamina propria. If the glands, they will be present over here, they will be named as mucosal glands. And now you cannot visualize any glands over here, so mucosal glands are absent. And this region, this discontinuous layer of muscles is called as lamina muscularis, or it is also called as muscularis mucosae. So ultimately you can see over here, starting from this point to this region, this is tunica mucosa, and after that you can see a whitish color layer is very prominent over here, having different blood vessels or fibroelastic connective tissue is present over here, and this layer of connective tissue will be named as submucosa. And after that you can see this is inner circular layer of muscles, and outer longitudinal layer of muscles is present. So these two layers, they will make the they will make a this tunica muscularis. and these two muscles layers, they will move in opposite direction. अगर हम समझें कि फर्स्ट जो लेयर है वो x डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, तो जो दूसरी है वो y डायरेक्शन में जाएगी। यानी x का मतलब अगर आप ले लें कि ये लेफ्ट टू राइट मूव करेगी, यानी लेटरल मूवमेंट्स होंगी, तो जो y जो है वो वर्टिकल मूवमेंट्स या अप एंड डाउन मूवमेंट को करेगी। और स्टमक में जाके ये 3 लेयर्स हो जाएंगी, जिसके अंदर जो अगर जी मूवमेंट है यानी कि इनवर्ड से आउटवर्ड, तो वहाँ पे मस्कुलर वॉल ज़्यादा होगी, थिक होगी इन केस ऑफ मसल्स। और यहाँ अगर आप देखें उसके बाद ट्यूनिका एडवेंटिशिया स्टार्ट हो रहा है, दैट इज अ कनेक्टिव टिश्यू लेयर विच इज विदाउट मेसोथेलियल लाइनिंग। यानी अगर हम इनिशियल पार्ट इसोफेगस का देखें तो वहाँ पे मेसोथेलियल लाइनिंग नहीं है और ये कनेक्टिव टिश्यू लेयर है which will be named as tunica adventitia. Here you can see on right side, this is a blood vessel. The lumen of the blood vessel terminology will be variable over here. This is first layer which is called as tunica intima, and second layer will be named as tunica media, and the last layer will be named as tunica adventitia. While in other tubular organs which we are going to discuss over here, गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक के ऑर्गन्स, रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम के, यूरोजेनिटल सिस्टम के जो ऑर्गन्स हैं उनके अंदर, रेस्पिरेटरी सिस्टम में, वहाँ पे ये टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज होगी कि ट्यूनिका मिकोजा है, ये सारा ट्यूनिका मिकोजा है अप टू द लेमिना मस्कुलरिस, ये लेमिना मस्कुलरिस है। तो एपिथेलियम की लेयर से लेके लेमिना मस्कुलरिस तक ट्यूनिका मिकोजा होगा। देन देयर विल बी सब मिकोजल लेयर ऑफ डेंस फाइब्रोइलास्टिक कनेक्टिव टिश्यू layer, and in tunica muscularis you will see two orientation of the muscles, inner circular and outer longitudinal muscle। क्रॉस सेक्शन में एक दूसरे के ऑपोजिट नजर आएंगे। ट्यूनिका सिरोसा is the outermost layer or which is providing protection to this organ, and cells of this layer will serous fluid to lubricate the organs from sticking to each other। तो यहाँ पे अगर ये ट्यूनिका सिरोसा खुदा ना खास्ता ना हो तो उसकी वजह से ऑर्गन्स है वो एक दूसरे के साथ चिपक जाए, तो अल्टीमेटली ये लुब्रिकेशन वाली एक लेयर है जो कि उसको प्रिवेंट करती है और उसको अटैचमेंट प्रोवाइड करती है दूसरे सराउंडिंग ऑर्गन्स के साथ। So this is the quotation of Albert Einstein: anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So that's all with my first presentation.